I just got back from my first Craigslist gig experience. And let me tell you, it wasn't that great. So I've been researching things to do and ways to advertise, how to get jobs and how to get leads and whatnot, and I feel like I've exhausted so many things that I could do without paying extra. And so I took the advice of the handyman channel. So one of the things that he suggested that was free was to go on Craigslist gigs. And so I went, emailed a couple of people, and there was a gig for a packing helper needed, and they asked for a female and a male, and female because the client paying for these helpers is a female, and the person that was advertising for it suggested that a female would be better with her like jewelries and knickknacks and smaller things. So anyway, it was supposed to be a gig that should have started at 9:30 a.m. At that point it was like 8 something, so I specified that I was responding to the 9:30 a.m. but I didn't expect to get there at 9:30. It was going to be really far based on their general identification of the city they wanted helpers to go to. But I emailed anyway, and it was supposed to pay $18 an hour plus tips, and it was going to be a 3 to 5 hour job. Well, I emailed them. They got back to me in like about 30 minutes, and they said, hey, we still would like you to come. Requirements for the response, actually. You need to put your name, your packing experience, and your phone number, and a picture of yourself, just so the person knows get to know you and whatever. And I don't know if that was a red flag for most people, but it wasn't for me because I live in LA, and almost everything that you apply for, even if it's not like model related or fit model related or anything like entertainment industry related, they do ask for a photo. So even though it was like packing, because there's a lot of people here, I just didn't really question it too much. So I sent them the same picture that I use for my tasker, which is just basically my face, like no cleavage or anything like that, nothing sexual. The person emails me, tells me that yes, please come at 10 o'clock. At that point, I think it would have taken me longer. It would have been a little bit over 10 o'clock if I had just left when I got the email, and I needed like a couple minutes to get ready anyway. And then when I emailed him that, I emailed him my phone number, and at this point, he replied with a different, like an actual email, not like those long-ended Craigslist emails. So I felt a little bit safe that it was like a legitimate thing. And then I also looked up the domain of the email address that he used, and it sounded like a legitimate company. I think it was like, I don't know, like some kind of startup. But anyway, so I just felt like, okay, this is a real thing. They're not looking for anything misleading, I guess. So he gave me the address and everything, told him I could get there a little bit after 10. He immediately calls me back and lets me know, hey, we ended up going with somebody else, but I called you. I saw that you said you have a handywoman business. What kind of service do you provide? And I kind of it took me back a little bit, so I couldn't think of exactly all the things. So I said all the easiest stuff, which I shouldn't have said. It's like, why even hire somebody for that? But I was like, whatever, next time I'll be prepared with like a little pitch. But he's like, well, I just wanted to call you in case we do need other services like that, then it's always good to have somebody available. And I said, okay, well, thank you for letting me know that you already have somebody for the packing job. And he said, yeah, thank you, whatever. And then a couple of minutes go by, and he calls me back and he says, hey, the person that we had hired, he hadn't even left yet. He's gonna be really late. Could you come right now? And I said, if you want to give me the exact address, because I just did like a general area. Oh yeah, so at this point I hadn't gotten the exact address yet. And I said, I'll put it into my maps and then tell you exactly how long it's gonna take me. It was gonna take me like 46 minutes, but I think with a little bit more traffic, it took me like 55 minutes to get there. So I was 10 minutes late, so I ended up going. And he just, as I was on my way there, he texted me a couple of numbers, said, okay, so and so is gonna tell me when you're finished so that I can arrange exactly how many hours that you worked and how much we should pay you. And then this is a number that you should call when you get there. And then a couple minutes go by, he texts me another number. He said, this is the other new number you should call instead. And then prior to that, he gave me another number for the client that was gonna actually pay me, the female. I said, okay, this sounds more legit. You know, I'm getting a lot of my information. Great. I searched the area. It's like fairly normal looking area, not in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. So fine, I get there. I'm looking around for parking, and it just so happens that street sweeping almost all around the block of this building is today, and it's around the time that I get there. So I call the number he gave me, and I speak to a different man, and he says, oh, I explained to him, like, I am the packing helper that so-and-so hired me or chose me from Craigslist, and I'm here. And he's like, okay, well, you're for this or this location, right? I was like, no, totally different cities. I'm in this location. And he's like, oh, huh. And then he gets quiet and he just hangs up. And then I thought, oh, maybe I totally called the wrong number, or maybe that person that I was I was speaking with on text message gave me the wrong number. Well, it turns out it was the right number. That person didn't know what they were doing, and the person that I got contacted by, he was not at the location. He was just kind of arranging everything. And so this is what I wanted to say. On my way there, he gave me that last number to call, and then he said this really weird thing. He was like, you are a good egg, by the way, and next year is gonna be really good for you, especially in love or something. And I was like, good egg? That's such a specific way to compliment somebody. Like, okay. And like a couple text message threads before that, he had texted me saying, hey, sorry, it's not gonna work out, thinking he was talking to the first contact. He was like, oh, just kidding, I texted the wrong person, you're fine, still come. And then that's when he texted me the new number, and then that weird, you're a good egg thing. So I was like, okay, well, it must have been a mistake again, whatever. I get there, I call that person he gave me the number for, I call the client, no answer by the client. That person I called and hung up. A few minutes goes by, I call the contact again that sent me the weird text, and he doesn't pick up. I text him, and then I text him like 5 minutes later with a longer text saying, hey, the client's not picking up, the new number you gave me is not picking up anymore, and this is what he said when I called him. And then I called the contact one more time, and then this time I left a voicemail saying, hey, I'm gonna wait 6 more minutes, and it was gonna be 11:15 at that point. And I said, hey, you know what? If I don't hear from you within the next few minutes until 11:15, I'm just gonna head back. And you know, if your first contact came by and you know they ended up coming through, that's totally fine. I just would have appreciated if you just told me so I didn't have to come all the way over here. Like, even if I was all the way over there, like, at least tell me so I'm not just waiting around, you know, at least be upfront about it and like, hey, we just went with somebody else, sorry we called you all the way over here. You know, at least say something rather than just kind of like leave me in the blue, or leave me hanging. So anyway, it was like 30 minutes going back because I was going against traffic this time. And 15 minutes into my drive, he texts me and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened, let me give them a call. And apparently he's going to try to Venmo me at least the minimum 2 hours. I guess they have that policy somewhere. Maybe you could figure that out with the client. So I set up a Venmo and sent him my username, but I highly doubt that I'm gonna get that $36. So I just drove all the way over there for nothing, which is fine. But that was my first experience doing Craigslist gigs. And so the weird thing, I'm texting Vince all of this, like, okay, this is the guy's number, this is the address I'm gonna be at, this is the client, this is the other number, and I'm giving him the thread of the weird egg thing that he said, and I said, you know what, it's probably for somebody else, and maybe it worked out that he ended up flaking or whatever. And you know, it could have been a scam where they had called one male and then me, saw my picture and maybe I qualified to be a good egg, and you know, it could have been a really nasty situation. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that the clients flaked, whatever. Then I get home, he's like, okay, I'm gonna try to get you those minimum whatever, I set up the Venmo, whatever. And then he texts me and he's like, okay, oh, and I said, sure, like, this is my Venmo, if you can, you know, figure out a way to like reimburse me for even coming and whatever. And if you need me in the future, like, I'll be happy to come by again. And he's like, okay, will do. This is really ridiculous. Like, I don't know what happened, but next year is gonna be really good for you. I'm like, with a smiley face. I'm like, okay. And I texted Vince and I was like, I guess that egg thing was for me because it's what he said. And he was like, yeah, he's just being dumb and awkward and yeah. So I guess maybe I was naive to send a picture for a freaking packing helping job, but that's what happened with Craigslist gigs. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you're a girl, you should be a little bit more cautious when you send people your photos and where you're going. And I guess starting out as a handy woman, Craigslist ads may not be the best option to advertise your business and get clients right away, but everything is a learning experience, as that fortune teller palm reader told me. So I'm not so, you know, like terrified of the situation. I'm glad I went. I'm glad that things like this could happen, and moving on from that. So anyway, I just wanted to share my story, and I think that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe. I post videos every single day about how my business is going, or the lack thereof, and how my life is going. It's just like self-reflection, just being TMI and emotional, and all of that to come. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.